You can't be afraid, and you can't. War is war. People are killed all around you, and you got to live with it. If you're going to break down, you're not going to do your job, and the enemy is going to take advantage of you.
You saw friends die. How did you keep going the next day?
Well, the thing is that we had a war to win. When our men were killed, I mean, I can tell you one story. I had a friend, his name was Fred Arcangelo, and we were setting up our gun, ready. We were told that we need to be ready to fire our weapons. When we stand together, and while we were waiting, he was telling me that he's from Philadelphia, and he was a divorcee, and he had a little child. And he was telling me that in the holidays, he would try to go and visit his little child, and they wouldn't let him in. So in the meantime, I was ready to jump in and ready to fire our weapon. One of our own shells landed right behind us. It was a misfire, and his head was completely blew off, and I was standing right next to him. And it could have been me just as well as him. How could you feel? So the first thing we had to do was wrap him up, because we had to keep moving too. We wrapped him up in his ponchos or whatever we had, and he took all his belongings and put them on his chest and make sure they were safe, And so we had to leave him there. And the reason why we had to wrap him up, because they may not pick him up for a day or two, and the animals would be around there, so we had to make sure that happened. Um, so this is the kind of things I've seen all the way through. A lot of our men didn't make it like I did. But the thing I can't understand is that I was right next to the young men like mine. They're my buddies. We shared foxholes together. How you should feel, but we had a war to win, and you had to sometimes do what I told you and had to move on. And so the thing. It didn't bother too much there, But when I got home, it really hit me. And that was a hard part. Even today, when I think about it, I shed tears, thinking about my young men. We lost a lot of men, and the Japanese had the advantage, because they had some of those ridges were 6,000 feet high, but they had the advantage as we were going up the hill. To they were after the officers and sergeants, and a lot of them were killed because they had emblems on their helmet, and so when we got halfway through, where we took half of the bridges to us, and I was only 19 years old at the time, and I was just a number two man on the gun there. At 19 years old, we lost our platoon sergeant. And so this lieutenant, which I had a rough time with, because he used to send us on, two or three of us on, to look around, walk around the area there and look for where the Japanese were, and that was a suicidal operation. There's a name for it, but I can't come up with that right now. And so this lieutenant I had a tough time with come up to me at 19 years old, made me the platoon sergeant. And so I had a big job to do with 6 weapons and 36 men. We had replacements to come in, and with all our losses, we had a lot of losses, so we had 20 more ridges to go, and I did it very successfully as a 19-year-old boy. Think of that. And all these guys were older than I, tough looking, heavy beards. I never shaved. I still don't shave too much. And I was like a little kid. They made me in charge of all this. But I took care of it. I got all my sergeants together and says, we got to do this together. And we did. We took the other 20 ridges, and we had casualties, but I didn't lose any men at all. I think I did very well, and I got 2 Bronze Stars for that. And so did my platoon.
What do you think kept you alive?
Well, I was not afraid. I was not afraid of death. I was there to fight a war, either kill or be killed, and try to save whatever I can and work together with my buddies and everything so we can help each other out. We were like a family. And so I was not afraid. I was not afraid. I, um, I was upset with our enemy and what they've done to a lot of our men and the other parts of the war, you know. And so I was not afraid. I did my job, and not alone, but I did it with my platoon. And as a kid, I mean, when I looked like a kid, I never shaved, you know. And then doing what I did, I was proud of myself. You know, I'm going to tell you one thing. You know, my older brother wrote to me one day, and he sent me a prayer, and I was happy about that. He said, "I want you to say that prayer every morning." Well, I used to go around and try to find the highest ridge to get on top of it because I said I'd be closer to the Lord than I say that prayer. And that sort of perked me up a little bit, you know, and do my job along with my other men. I didn't win this war alone. With my platoon, we did our share and we did a good job. We lost some men, I understand that. But you can't be afraid, and you can't, war is war. People are killed all around you, and you got to live with it. If you're going to break down, you're not going to do your job, and the enemy's going to take advantage of you. So we did. I'd be proud of me. I'm proud of my platoon. I'm proud of myself to guide 36 men through what I did as a 19-year-old. And so I think about that, and I lived that, and I felt very, coming home, I felt strong, and I felt good about myself, you know.